As we talked the previous day, that it is always important, the two things. One is at the beginning and one is at the end, right? So at the beginning, what we have to do is cultivation of motivation, cultivate our motivation, generate motivation. So that is very important. Whatever action you are going to do, the motivation is very important. And then if you have the right motivation, strong motivation, then the action will be very effective. And if you have the wrong motivation, then even the action is good, the result wouldn't be that good. So that is very important. So at this time, we are going to discuss about the bodhicitta, body mind, that the book written by Acharya Shantideva about the body mind. So bodhicitta. So that is Mahayana teaching. So we have to cultivate bodhicitta mind within ourselves. So even as like me, the beginners or beginners like me, it is not possible to generate body mind at once, but then we should think of bodhicitta, and at least we must feel some kind of bodhicitta within ourselves, aspiration, to Buddhahood, and for the sake of all sentient beings. That is bodhicitta. So some kind of artificial bodhicitta, we must generate some kind of artificial bodhicitta within ourselves. And with that influence, then we must discuss the subject. So that is the cultivation of motivation, right? So before we go to the next chapter, also I would just like to tell you that the bodhicitta mind, even if we don't have bodhicitta mind, if we have some kind of feeling or attitude about altruism, that is very beneficial for us. Not to attain enlightenment, not for next life, but in this life also it is very helpful for our life. So that is because positive thinking is scientifically proved to have a healthy life and long life. Longevity. If you have if you live with a positive attitude, then you live long, and you will not suffer from serious diseases, and that is also scientifically also proved. And so therefore it is very and how to lead a happy life, how to think, how to train our mind. That's the best education about how to live happily. So you cannot find in the His Holiness Dalai Lama always tells to the people of in the world that there are many different religious traditions in the world, and they all are very effective. They all are serving humanity. They all are helping many different groups. So we must respect all those different religious traditions. So because they all are serving humanity, so only one tradition cannot serve the humanity, because all human beings, they have different nature, so they need a different kind of approach, way of thinking, and so forth. So for certain people, it is helpful if you have kind of attitude or conception about creator that is very suitable for some people, and that brings happiness in their life, and for them it is very good. That attitude, that conception is helping, that conception is working for them, that is very good. But on the other hand, how to train your mind, how it is all again scientifically proved that the destructive emotions. What are the destructive emotions? Destructive emotions are delusions like anger, pride, jealousy, and there are 5 root destructive emotions. Ignorance, and then doubt or suspicion, and then what? Hatred. So there are 6 root wrong view, 6 root destructive emotions. So how to train our destructive emotions, how to transform our destructive emotions into constructive emotions. That method of training your mind, training your emotions, that is, you cannot find more detail than you find in Buddhism, and not even in Hinduism. Hinduism also talks about psychology. Hinduism also talks about the shamatha, vipassana, all these kind of things. But still, they are lacking. So the other religious traditions, we don't have to talk too much about mind, emotions. So you just believe in God, that is enough for you, right? So, it is so to study Buddhism is not for next lives, or to not only for next lives, or not only for to attain Buddhahood or to enlighten yourself, but to have a long, happy life in this life. It is very helpful. So it is always important to study Buddhist philosophy and Buddhism. So if you don't study, then you don't understand. Even if you have belief in Buddha, if you have faith in Buddha, but you don't understand. Your understanding is limited. When your understanding is limited, then you cannot handle with these destructive emotions. In order to be able to handle with destructive emotions, you have to know how to handle with it. So that is so study is very important. So we are also going to discuss about the teachings of Buddha, and now the second chapter. We'll start the second chapter today. The second chapter is about compassion. Compassion. That is the purification or compassion. The negative actions, negative karmas, non-virtuous actions that we have accumulated for the past many years or long time. So we have to get rid of them. Otherwise, we will suffer. So therefore, the compassion is very important for us. So as I told you the other day, so the karmic system is very important to understand. That is the base of Buddha Dhamma. If you don't have belief in karmic system, then you cannot understand Buddha Dhamma, and you cannot produce a sustainable faith in Buddha Dhamma. It is impossible. So it is very important that you know about karma. Because if there is no karmic system, then there is no need of compassion. That is the philosophy, you know. So, like if you believe in creator, you know, so you don't have to believe in karma. Yeah, so then what happens is you just please the creator, and the rest, whatever you do, your actions, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't affect you if you can please the creator. But here, that conception is not there. So we must follow our actions. So the system, how it works, the karmic system, how it works, you should know. You must know. It is very, very important. And how to know? I always tell you. Yes, the other day also I told you, and last year also I told you. It is very important. When you have generated a true faith in karmic system, then what happens? Then you always hesitate to do any bad actions, even if it is very small actions. Now, so that you can check yourself, you know. So if you tell a small lie, and do you hesitate or don't you? So most of us, we don't hesitate. Okay, small lie is okay. Like if I don't lie today, I won't get the benefit. So this is okay. Tomorrow I will offer a butter lamb or whatever, you know. So we think it that way. So similarly, there are many things. Most of us, if we are asked to kill human beings, if we will hesitate. That is maybe some percentage because of bad action, some percentage because of the law of the country. So anyway, we don't get engaged into that kind of actions. But the small actions, we don't care, you know. So we should know about sometimes it is good to hear about the biographies of great masters like Atisha, because Atisha, when he went to Tibet, he always hesitated to do tiny little actions, bad actions. So if some Tibetans they are doing some small and bad actions, you know, like you don't respect the book. A book means the teachings of Buddha. So that is the teachings of Buddha in the form of book. That is nothing very important, but still it is a representative of Buddha's teaching. So we must respect. If you respect them, you will get merit. If you don't respect them, then you create bad karma. You know. So we are not supposed to put anything like even Bajra. Sometimes we put Bajra on the book, the rosary on the book. That is not allowed. Even Buddha's statue, you cannot put on the teaching books. The other books doesn't matter, of course. It depends on the contents, you know. So in Buddha's book, you cannot even put Buddha's statue on the book. So in Tibetan, when Atisha was there, so Tibetans, they don't care. They put rosary or whatever on the books, and then he get surprised at the action, and then he scream, "Oh, what are you doing? You can't do that. You cannot do that." He's screaming because he really surprised how you could do it. So because he really believes in the karmic system, so small things can give you big results. So good actions also, small good actions can give you huge results. And similarly, bad actions also, little bad actions can give you very huge results. So that is even you look at the external cause and effect system. It is always given the example in our books, you know. So when you plant a tree, like apricot tree, you put one seed in the earth, right? And then when it gives a result, this big tree and hundreds of thousands, maybe thousands of fruits, apricot fruits. So it is, and that is not only for a year. Year after year, year after year, year after year, it will give fruit. So tiny little seeds can give you that much results. So similarly, internally, if you look at the karmic system, the tiny little karmic action can give you a huge result, either bad or good, So therefore, like compassion. So if you believe in the karmic system, then compassion works, because compassion is to get rid of the bad actions. How to get rid of the bad actions that you have already done? They are there, underlying there. At the moment you don't get all the results, but they are there, underlying. And when they meet with conditions, then they will give you results. They will start to give you results, one after another, right? One after another. So we have to get rid of them. So the only way to get rid of them is compassion. So now, how to destroy them? And that is with the four forces, four powers, four forces. So we have huge accumulation of bad karma. Huge, not this life, but since beginner's time, we have been collecting bad karmas, and they all are underlying there. They all are stored. So in our store, there's a huge amount of bad action. So to destroy that huge amount of bad actions, we need a force to destroy them. So that is called antidote, force. So four forces. So out of four forces, the most important force is feeling of regret. Understand? Feeling of regret. Feeling of regret. How come? How the feeling of regret comes? If you are convinced the bad actions will give you suffering, then you will feel regret. Otherwise, there is no way of feeling of regret. So if you see, I have accumulated bad actions, and that will give me bad results. One day, today, tomorrow, next year, after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or after this life. Anyway, one day it will give me bad result. That bad result means suffering. Suffering means huge amount of suffering. So then, if you start to believe in that system, then you fear what you have done. So that is feeling regret, So the example given in the book is that unknowingly you consume poison with a drink or whatever. So after that you realize that you have drunken poison. Then you get panic, Now I shouldn't have drunk that, even though I was so thirsty or hungry or whatever. Now what I have done, that kind of feeling of regret, that has to be there. The stronger the feeling of regret, the greater amount of the bad actions will be purified. You see? So that is important, very important. And then the other when you have that strong regret feeling, then other three forces will follow automatically. There is no problem. You can do it very easily. So feeling of regret. Now feeling of regret, how you can get the feeling of regret? Unless you believe in karmic system, there is no way to get true feeling of regret, isn't it? Yeah. So that's why I was always emphasizing to understand karmic system. Okay. So then the force of relying upon. That is, you should rely on taking refuges in three jewels. Most of you know about that, right? We Buddhists, we have to know that taking refuge in three jewels. That is the first thing we have to know. And then generating or cultivating motivation. So here, if you are a Mahayana believer, then your followers of Mahayana, then we need to cultivate bodhicitta. If you are followers of Theravada, then you have to cultivate the attitude of getting liberation, nirvana. So because also Theravada, even if you follow Theravada tradition, you must do the compassion, right? So for compassion you need these two, cultivation of motivation and taking refuge in three jewels, that is needed. So relying upon, force of relying upon, rely on that power. And then the third force is what it is. And then you should create the feeling that I will never do that kind of action again in the future. Even if I have to die, I will never get engaged into that kind of action, bad action. Okay. So that we must take a pledge. Okay. So that is that comes if you have the regret feeling, and I will never do that. That will come because we just talked about the poison, consuming poison. So he is not going to, if he gets cured from this problem, this consuming poison, then he will never do it again. That is for sure. That is not very difficult. And then the fourth force is antidote force. That is reciting mantra, or the meditation of bodhicitta, meditation on emptiness, all these reciting different mantras or sutras, all these are the fourth force, antidote force, what we call it. Okay. So that is now we go through the books, Confession of Faults. Last chance of the Capsule devotion. So the first chapter was praising bodhicitta, Buddhi mind, right? And praising and talking about the good qualities of bodhicitta, and explaining about the benefits of bodhicitta for yourself and for others as well, right? So the chapter second is compassion, but so that I may where is it? I'm sorry, I haven't done my homework. So disclosure of wrongdoing, that must be it. So that I may fully grasp the jewel, the mind. I worship here the Tathagatas and the and the flawless jewel, the true Dharma, and the sons of the Buddhas who are ocean of virtue. So here is making offering. So that is that comes under the relying upon force, right? So you make offerings to Buddhas and then you accumulate merit, and then through that way you make your power stronger and stronger. You know, the more merit you accumulate, the more powerful your actions become to destroy the bad actions that you have accumulated in the past. So here it says the other translation, in order to seize the precious mind. How do you read this?
Seize.
Huh?
Seize.
That precious mind I offer now to the Tathagata, to the sacred Dhamma, the stainless jewel, and to the disciples of Buddha, the oceans of excellency. Excuse me. So in order to now in the first chapter you have generated Bodhi mind. So you want to hold that Buddhi mind within yourself till you get enlightened. So in order to be able to hold on to that mind, you make offerings to the Tathagatas. Tathagatas means Buddhas. Buddha, there is a synonym of Buddha, you know. Tathagata, Sugata, Bhagavan, those are the synonym of Buddha. Okay? Then the Dhammecha, that is Tathagata, the sacred Dhamma. The true Dhamma, whatever you say. So what is the sacred Dhamma, the true Dhamma? Do you know? Do you know? What is the sacred Dhamma? Dhamma. Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, you know. So what is Dhamma, you know? I don't know. If you don't know, I have to explain. If you know, I don't have to explain, right? So that's why I'm asking. Dhamma, maybe, how do you, you know, the real Dhamma. The real Dhamma is the realization. You know, realization. That is Four Noble Truths. Truth of suffering, truth of the cause of suffering, truth of the path to enlightenment, the cessation. They are the Four Noble Truths, right? So path to enlightenment, then that is there are 5 paths. So when you get to this third path, that is seeing path, then the meditation itself in the seeing path, that is direct realization of emptiness. The seeing path, the meditation itself is Dhamma. And after that meditation session, then you get what you get. You get the cessation, a cease of certain amount of obscurations. So Buddha is the cease of all cessation of all obstacles, obscurations, cessation of all obscurations, right? So the seeing part, you get rid of from certain amount of obscurations. That is, actually there are 2 obscurations, you know. The delusion obscurations and the knowing obscurations, knowledge of obscurations. right? So that is knowledge of obscurations. So when you get rid of that, then you become Buddha. But the delusion of obscuration that you keep on abandoning, keep on getting rid of through the meditation. Some meditation stage 1, meditation level 2, level 3, like that, So that is Dharma, real Dharma. Because may I remind that when you take refugee individuals, it is said that you must consider yourself as a patient. And you must consider Buddha as a doctor. You must consider the Dharma as a medicine. You must consider the Sangha as the helpers, nurse and helpers. So Buddha is like a doctor, the Buddha will check you because we are suffering. So Buddha will check you and Buddha will diagnose what is your disease. And then he will prescribe the medicine. That is Dharma. So if you practice Dharma, then you get the realization. When you get the realization, then you get rid of all the obscurations. That is how you become liberated, right? So that is Buddha Dhamma, real Buddha Dhamma. And this book is the representative of Dhamma. This is not the real Dhamma. The old we don't have much books here. All these textbooks, they are the representative of Buddha Dhamma. They are not real Dhamma. But we must respect them because they are representative of Buddha Dhamma. Through them we get the realization, right? So Buddha Dhamma. You make offerings to Buddha and Dhamma, then the stainless Buddhas, and then the sons of Buddhas, that is, you know what is sons of Buddhas? Bodhisattvas. Who are the Bodhisattvas? The beings who have Buddhicit, right? Right? Yeah. Because we discussed the previous day, right?